This treasured blade cuts through iron as if it were mud. With it, even when facing a ferocious flood dragon, one could slice it down with a single strike. However, the guardian of this blade is no ordinary man, but the legendary monster, the Tengu. He is a reclusive master, whose unrivaled movement technique alone lets him dominate the martial world. Yet, he leads his disciples to hide deep in the mountains, dedicated to forging all kinds of divine weapons. Unexpectedly, these weapons attracted a group of Ronin. Passing through layers of dense fog, the group finally arrived at the cave beneath the statue of Buddha. To avoid disturbing the master's meditation, only John and Oishi went to pay their respects. The others remained on standby. On the way, John reminded Oishi, "Whatever you see, do not draw your sword," because even combined, they were no match for the monk. Entering the long, narrow passageway, they saw a monk kneeling before a stone statue. John told Oishi to wait in the hall first, as he needed to greet his master. Inside a secret chamber, John discovered that familiar figure. The moment master and disciple met, the master presented the challenge. A precious sword stood between them. If John could pick it up before his master, they would receive his aid. Facing his master's sharp gaze, John held his breath, not daring to be careless in the slightest. Meanwhile, Oishi suddenly heard someone call his name. Turning around, he saw the rest of their companions had also entered the hall. Looking at the strange monk beside him, the man directly drew his blade. The monk, who was originally praying quietly, suddenly leapt up. Using his agile and elusive movements, he weaved continuously among the men, instantly snapping one man's neck. At that moment, a voice whispered in Oishi's ear, tempting him to draw his weapon and save his brothers. Yet, Oishi remembered John's warning. Together, they were no match for these monks. Watching his brothers fall one by one before him, he was powerless to help. Just as his own son was about to be killed, he shouted himself hoarse, halting the monk. Everything before Oishi's eyes suddenly vanished. It turned out all of this was the monk's test. In the chamber, John and his master moved simultaneously. In a flash, the precious blade was at the master's throat. Seeing this, the master was deeply pleased. John had not forgotten the martial arts he was taught. After obtaining the treasured blade, John demonstrated the sword's power to his companions. A branch as thick as a wrist was cleanly sliced through. The burly man nearby immediately looked on in astonishment. 47 Ronin signed and sealed a pledge, swearing to avenge their lord unto death. On the eve of Kira and Mika's wedding, Oishi led the group into action. They disguised themselves as a performing troupe. Under the cover of the troupe's music, they launched a full-scale assault. At this moment, John finally saw Mika. However, an enemy lurking in the shadows suddenly revealed its true form.